MrExcel Podcast, sponsored by Easy Excel. Learn Excel from MrExcel Podcast, episode 1871, 200 checkboxes on a worksheet. Hey everyone, welcome back to the MrExcel Netcast. I'm Bill Gell, and today's question sent in by Catherine. Catherine is designing a risk assessment. She was really happy. Check this out, File, Options, and customize the ribbon. Come over here to the Developer tab. There's lots of good stuff on that Developer tab, including under Insert, there are form controls with checkboxes and ActiveX controls with the checkboxes. And so you can draw a little checkbox in there, and we will have a, it's a risk assessment. There's different things like, do you smoke, or, I don't know, something. And we can right click and format the control and say that this is tied to cell B2. Click OK. And then here's how it works. So you check the box, you get a true. Uncheck the box, you get a false. All right. Oh, but wait, we have to do 200 of those. That is going to be a nightmare to go through and set up each one and say that it is associated with the item to the right. So I have an alternate way to go. Catherine's question was, hey, how do I make 200 of these? My suggestion is you're not going to make any of them. So here's what I did. This is a trick from Szilvia Juhasz. She did it on the podcast earlier this year. We have formulas here that equal CHAR of the row with parentheses there, and that gives us all of the characters. So this is character 2, this is character 23, character 44, and so on. And I changed the various columns. You'll see on the Home tab here that this column is Webdings, this column is Wingdings, Wingdings 2, Wingdings 3, and then just those. Calibri is the so we can see what the actual letter is. Every computer going back to Excel 97, at least Windows, has these. And I was heading down to the R's because I remember here in the Wingdings 2, this X and the check mark, right? Those are really cool. But I think we probably want an unchecked box and then a checked box. So what I ended up finding was down here at 254 in Wingdings, and also character 168 in Wingdings gives me the box and the unchecked box. All right, so let's just insert a new worksheet here, and here we're going to do equal CHAR 254, and we're going to change that to Wingdings. All right, I'm going to center vertically, center horizontally. We'll make the column smaller. And maybe I need to increase the size there. Just choose a size that you think looks good. Now, when we were using the forms control, I will grant you that both the checkbox and the text were allowed to live in the same cell, but not here. We're going to have the checkboxes in column A, and then the text over there in column B. All right, and maybe we need to vertically align that. All right, but you get it, right? It's going to work. So let's just come up with risk item number 2. I'm not going to type all the items. I'm sure that Catherine already has those. I'll use the fill handle to go down 200 cells. Whoops, too far. I'm going to delete, and then we'll copy this checkbox down. All right, but it's not a control. It's just a character. When you click in the cell, nothing happens. So we need a tiny bit of VBA. So here is my sheet. I'm going to call this new checkbox. I'm going to make sure that this file is saved with an XLSM file type. So File, Save As. All right. By default, a lot of computers are set to save as XLSX, which is the worst file type in the world. It's the only file type that's not allowed to have macros. So you want to go to either XLSM or XLSB, or heck, even XLS. That's silly. One of these two, though. Make sure that you're saved that way. And then we'll press Alt F11. If you've never done macros before, Alt F11 takes you to the VBA window here, just big gray ugly screen. You want to go to View, Project Explorer. You want to find that sheet. That sheet was called New Checkbox. Double click the sheet in the Project Explorer. Top left drop down, choose Worksheet, and then top right drop down. I'm going to say that anytime we double click one of those checkboxes, it's going to change. So we're going to use the before double click. So every time that we double click a cell, this macro is going to run. And just like on the cooking shows, I already had the cake put in the oven an hour ago, so here is the code. They're passing us a variable called target. That's the cell that was just double clicked. If that column is equal to 1, if they click something in column A, then go see if we're currently at character 254. If we are, change it to character 168. And then if we were currently at character 168, change it back to 254. The really important part here is they give us a second argument called cancel. Cancel equals true. That will cancel the double click, so we're not going to put that cell in edit mode. Let's switch back to Excel with Alt Q. And now check this out. If I come here and double click, it will change to unchecked, change to unchecked, change to unchecked. Or if I double click, it will change back to checked. And those two characters, they look the same, so it looks like the check mark is coming and going. Now what if we need to count the number of items that are checked? That's going to be equal COUNTIF column A and see if it's equal to CHAR. It's funny, here it's in Excel it's AR, in VBA it's CHR, 254, and we will get a count of how many items are checked. Now the only complaint that we're going to get from the person using this form is they want to be able to just click once to check. And the downside to this, so back here on this sheet, I have one set up where instead of it's the double click macro, I used both the double click macro and the selection change macro. Only difference here is we don't have the cancel equals true. And while this works if the person using the spreadsheet is a mouse person, see it adds the checkboxes and unadds the checkboxes, it would be really dangerous if you ran into a keyboard person and they sat here. I'm going to press the down arrow key. As I press the down arrow key, every one of these things is going to toggle to the opposite state. Great way to ruin all of your checkboxes. You'll really hack people off. But if you're designing this for mouse people, then mouse people, not people that are mouse, but people who like to use the mouse, then using selection change might be a better way to go. This would be an inordinate amount of work to try and add 200 of these and set each one of them up. Maybe you could do that with VBA, but I'm even going to argue that each one of these little controls is a foreign object, and you're taking a spreadsheet and putting 200 foreign objects on it is an immense amount of overhead. Lots of extra stuff that happens to go on there, and none of that stuff is happening here because this is just a simple, it's changing from one letter to another letter using the Wingdings font. To me, a much better way to go. Well, hey, I want to thank Catherine for sending that question in. I want to thank you for stopping by. We'll see you next time for another netcast, Mr. Excel.